What's going on, YouTube? I got the Facebook, I got the YouTube. Eventually, one day, I'm going to figure out a way to do both at once and not do this two setup. But I kind of like it. I feel like I got two different audiences. I see this, I see this. It's all love. What's going on? I see the comments. Someone said, hi, Big A. I see you. Three stories of the day. The first one I'm kind of pumped about. DeSantis is taking on the cruise industry and kind of got a win for now. So thank you, DeSantis. I mean, obviously we talk about politics. Nobody's perfect, but I do really appreciate when people actually do something. And I feel like DeSantis is actually doing something and he's actually winning. So thank you, Ron DeSantis. We're going to talk about how in the courts, I guess, Royal Caribbean now can't require vaccination as of now for U.S. cruises, thanks to, I think DeSantis is partly responsible for that. So thank you. Second thing I want to talk about today is there was a huge thing. If you guys are into the Second Amendment or you're not, either way, it was a very big ruling in, I guess, California. A judge overturned California's 32 ban on what they're calling assault weapons, like AR-15s. I know some gun people follow me and they say, it's not an assault weapon. That's just what they say or whatever. I'm just saying they overturned it. We're going to read that. That seems like a pretty huge ruling for California. It's super liberal, yet it seems like, they got a ruling in favor of what conservatives like over liberals. And the third thing I want to talk about is Gavin Newsom basically is keeping his COVID state of emergency under order. And it's pretty whack, in my opinion, but to each their own. We'll talk about those three. Hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you enjoy yourself. Maybe you got some sun. Maybe it's not sunny where you're at. Maybe it's nighttime. Maybe it's daytime. I can't really tell. There's some people all over the world, so I appreciate y'all. But that's what it is. Let's see. We got New Zealand. We'll do a few shout outs. We used to do it. What's up? Janet says, let's cruise. She's trying to promote her cruise booking. Janet, much respect. Message me on Instagram. I don't know that I'm going to buy a cruise through you, but I love the hustle. People out here hustling their stuff. We got Carmen. We got Marley. We got John. Appreciate y'all. We got Luana. We got Sammy. We got Adam. We got two mobs. We got Vladimir. What do I think about when Trump said that? I'll answer questions at the end. I don't want to make people wait. I just want to hop right into it. So first story of the day, I have two things up from the Miami Herald. This one's from June 4th, 2021. I think I shared it on my Facebook, but I want to go a little more in depth about it. But it says Royal Caribbean reverses won't require passengers on U.S. cruises to be vaccinated. Royal Caribbean International will no longer require any of its cruise passengers to be vaccinated for COVID-19 as it had previously planned to. In a press release Friday announcing cruises for sale on 8 of its ships in the U.S. ports this summer, starting with Freedom of the Seas, blah, 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 blah. The announcement is a reversal from previous statements and vaccine protocols the company submitted to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention last month that said it would require all passengers at least 18 years or older to be vaccinated. It says, guests are strongly recommended to set sail fully vaccinated if they're eligible. Those who are unvaccinated or unable to verify vaccination will be required to undergo testing and follow protocols, which will be announced later that day. This is about this is an apparent submission to Governor Ron DeSantis, who has insisted that there will be no exception made for cruise companies to a newly passed Florida law that fines companies $5,000 each time they ask a patron to provide proof of vaccination. So, DeSantis has done a lot of things to actually do something. And I know, no offense to other Republicans, and I know there's a lot of people who talk a lot and they say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you actually have to do something. And Ron DeSantis actually did something. He passed some sort of order to say that if you require proof of vaccination, $5,000 a pop. So, money talks to these people. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's a conspiracy theory. Did you know that there's 9 new billionaires in big pharma? 9 new billionaires? Oh yeah, wow. I wish a random spontaneous event in the world helped me that way. I didn't get $1 billion. I didn't even get $1 million. Where's my $1 billion? I mean, I heard that the lockdowns were just this spontaneous event, and I'm not mocking it as if it's not, but I'm just saying it's like, oh, you can't question the lockdowns. You can't question the vaccination rollout. You can't question any of this. They just got 9 new billionaires in their industry. Did your industry get 9 new billionaires? Mine didn't. And if they did, it's not me. And it's not anybody I know on the side of truth. So, isn't that just fascinating? But anyway, I got a little carried away. Thank you to Ron DeSantis. I believe he sued the CDC at one point, and I believe that he put an order in and money talks to these people. Whether we don't care about money. You just get poorer and we'll get richer. We don't care about money. The billionaires will get richer. The pharmacy will get richer. You get poorer. You get fatter. You get more out of shape. But we don't care about money. We just, of course they do. That's why I think when you find $5,000 a pop, all of a sudden it doesn't seem that interesting to make everybody require proof of vaccination. Because if I do addition, it would have cost them tens of millions of dollars if they tried to require proof of vaccination for every passenger. Thank you, Ron DeSantis. No offense. Maybe I should watch what I say because I know there's kids watching, but is this family friendly? I apologize if it's not. Screw you, Royal Caribbean, for even trying to do that. I know you're working with the CDC and you're trying to maintain guidelines, but I am a loyal Royal Caribbean customer. I don't want to say I'm a platinum member, but the kid might be a platinum member. I don't know. Am I not? I got to check. I don't want to fabricate that. But, I called Royal Caribbean and I said something along the lines of, hey, I got all these cruises coming up. Like, what's the deal? And they're talking about masks on a boat. Maybe Ron DeSantis should do some sort of thing, $5,000 every time they force somebody to wear a mask. Who wants to go on vacation and wear a mask? Everybody here knows I love cruises because I talk about it all the time. I do love cruises, and I might talk about it for an hour. I won't. I promise. If you're bored already, I'll talk about it for a minute, 2 minutes max. But, how am I going to go on vacation and be in Alaska or the Bahamas, whatever, and I'm going to wear a mask on a boat? Are you kidding me? I'm not a slave. I'm not a prisoner. I'm not an abused show animal. This isn't a circus. I don't need to wear a mask, okay? It's ridiculous. Forced masking is disgusting. If you want to wear one, I don't care. I don't care if you wear a clown suit. If you walk around the streets wearing a clown suit, I lived in Hollywood for a few years. You think I haven't seen that? I've seen crackheads. I've seen SpongeBob SquarePants try to steal my, groceries. Literally, one time I bought groceries and I was just walking on the boulevard and he's like, hey, can I have your chips? I was like, dude, like SpongeBob's trying to steal my sour cream. I've seen it all. If you want to wear a mask, you want to dress like SpongeBob, you want to act like a clown, you want to wear a mask, you want to wear 2 masks, you want to wear 3 masks. At a certain point, I would say it's probably not good to double, triple, quadruple, but listen, maybe Dr. Fauci will say otherwise. Listen to him. But anyway, I'm not a medical advisor. You get what I'm saying. I'm not wearing a mask on a cruise too. So thank you, Ron DeSantis. God bless you. Thank you for finally doing something. And maybe other Republicans can look at Ron DeSantis and be like, oh, we can actually do something. I thought we were supposed to just post Pride Month, tweets and pretend like we're fighting the culture war while we print trillions of dollars under the lockdown and then go on television and be like, oh, we're fighting it's like you did it just like the Democrats did. Just like, thank you, Ron DeSantis. Appreciate it. Royal Caribbean, I'm never going on your cruise unless you do no forced masks. I'm not wearing a mask to go on a cruise boat. This is absolutely insane, but baby steps. And I am glad that Ron DeSantis got them to, turn around. Before I move on, I'm just going to read the Miami Herald. They posted the truth. And then they posted some stupid opinion piece the next day from the editorial. So a day after just reporting what actually happened, which I read, they did a good job. They posted their editorial board. I don't know if this is 1 goofball, 2 goofballs, 3 goofballs, or the whole goofball team at Miami Herald. It says DeSantis clash with Florida's cruise industry over vaccine passports will cost us all. Editorial. Oh, they brought out the editorial board to write a smear piece a day after they reported this. I'm just going to read how dumb these people are. Governor Ron DeSantis' ill-thought-out ban on vaccine passports is keeping Florida's cruise industry in limbo, potentially costing the state tourist dollars and jobs. But apparently that's okay with DeSantis as long as he scores political points with his GOP base. His ambitions, another term as governor and maybe even presidency, are once again more important than the good of the state. So these people aren't even hiding themselves. It's like if I would have said 2 years ago, I would have been like, hey, guys, I have evidence that the country's going to lock down. They're going to, put masks on everybody. We're going to live in a Black Mirror episode. They're going to close down the cruise line industry. And then they're going to open up with forced vaccination. What would they have said to me? Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. They would never do that. They'll never do forced vaccination. They'll never do it. And then all of a sudden they do it. And Ron DeSantis is like, no. And then they're like, this guy doesn't care. How dare him take away our mandatory vaccine passports? It's like, do these people really not know where this goes? If Big Pharma, if Pfizer, Moderna, Trump, Donald Trump, who they hate, Biden, Hillary, DeSantis, Newsom, anybody, if anybody can say you have to get this injection or it's a segregated society, you can't go on a cruise, you can't go here, you can't fly, Do people not realize how dangerous this is? And the one thing that I really repeat, and I think it's really got out there more, and I didn't create it, I learned this from other people that were much earlier than I was. So I'm very grateful for the people who taught me this information. But, I'm starting to see more and more people say the real reason that this is bad, besides I can name 50, is every time you see a pharmacy commercial, you see all of the side effects. All of the side effects are listed. It's like your bladder might bleed, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm like, dude, like have you ever seen the thing where he's like a bouncy ball and they're like, are you depressed? Well, you should take this. I'm not going to say the name of the drug. I don't want to get sued, but whatever. And then the side effects are like 50,000 things. And I'm like, I'm not that depressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Those side effects sound crazy, but they have to list all the side effects, because if they don't list the side effects, they're financially liable. Now, if you take the pill and that happens to you, which it probably will in some rare cases, they could say, well, we told you that happened. You're taking a risk, and we told you that risk. With vaccines, they don't tell you because they're actually not liable. You could look up the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, the PrEP Act. All of these things are grandfathered in, so they know that there are side effects. I'm not saying that there's a billion. I'm not going to make theories that I don't know. But Bill Gates, if you watch an interview, he understands that there will be side effects in rare cases, so they protect themselves from liability. The Pfizer has no liability, Moderna has no liability, J&J has no liability. So you would think that the media would be decent enough to be like, well, we know that they have no liability, and we know that it happens, but we're protected. And then they say you can't talk about it. So not only do they know that it happens, but they won't let you talk about it. That's the bad part. If I take a pill, I know that I could have a side effect, even in a rare case. If I'm allergic to almonds and I eat an almond, it's on me, not the almond company, because I know what is good and not good for me. I might have an allergic reaction to shellfish. So the federal government knows it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, because they know that everybody's different, immune deficient. Some people have bad reactions and stuff. They know that. There's millions of people who can attest to that in America who know somebody or had something happen to them. So it's more common than people think. I know people in my small circle who can't use their arm, and people who've had bad things. And I've also known millions of people, not personally, but who've had great, results. And it's all love, but it's like, you can't force somebody to do something that could hurt them, that you have no liability for, and then ban them from society. So I hope the left realizes it's not Trump versus anti-Trump. It's not DeSantis versus the left. It's like you guys went from being peaceniks and saying no more war, to ignoring war when Barack Obama did it, to ignoring kids in Libya who are enslaved, or men who are enslaved under the regime change war that completely failed in Libya. They tried to do the same thing in Syria. Nobody cared about that. And now you have the left went from being like pro-freedom hippies to lockdown, no more Coachella because we're all locked down. And, if DeSantis, big bad DeSantis, doesn't let a vaccine passport through, he's the enemy of the world. It's like, I'm not saying that everybody gets hurt. Most people will be fine, but you can't force a food and a drug into the entire population and then bar them from society if they don't want it, especially over something like this. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. So thank you, Ron DeSantis, and shame on the editorial board for Miami Herald for posting a stupid article where they never understand. It's like, you guys are so tyrannical that what really burst your bubble is Ron DeSantis stopping mandatory vaccine passports. The world has lost their mind, but it's okay. Second thing I want to talk about, which is very, very similar, is Governor Gavin Newsom won't lift his COVID-19 state of emergency order. I'm on ABC News 10. It says, despite many coronavirus restrictions being lifted on June 15th, California Governor Gavin Newsom plans to keep the state of emergency order in place. And in here, it says some quotes from Newsom. It says, we're still in the state of emergency. This disease has not been extinguished. It's not vanished. It's not taking the summers off, Newsom said. So he's basically using the fact that it's still here and not disappeared as a reason to keep the emergency orders. And I'll read a little bit about what emergency orders do. So declaring, I guess I'll just read this. Newsom issued the order on March 4th, 2020. And since then, he's been able to issue a multitude of executive orders affecting many aspects of everyday lives of Californians. Declaring a state of emergency has allowed the governor to exercise additional authority and to pass executive orders that basically carry the force of law without having to go through state legislature. He's been able to act unilaterally on things like eviction, halting, allowing marriages to be conducted online, extending tax collection deadlines, suspending school deadlines, and changing the rules for public meetings. So basically, under the state of emergency, Gavin Newsom and every governor, and even to one point, the president of the United States, had more power. Sorry with the early super chats. I appreciate them, but I can't read them right now. I'll read them at the end, or you'll have to redo it. I apologize. But, it's giving them like dictator style power. Usually you have a whole system and it's like, well, now there's a virus, so now we don't have to use that system anymore. I could just change the course of the entire state like a authoritarian ruler, and that's fine. So he's using, and this is the phrase that should really concern people. I don't know if people on the left listen to me anymore, because I feel like I'm pretty fair. I see a lot of people with Black Lives Matter in their profile, follow me on Instagram at Dream Rare. So I think I am getting through a little bit, but it's like, guys, the whole circus is like Trump versus anti-Trump. Meanwhile, they're taking power. And he said, this disease has not been extinguished. It's not been vanished. So his logic is, well, this disease is still here. I guess I deserve, executive power because this disease is still here. I'm just trying to think of like how many diseases we've eradicated. I mean, polio is the one example, but there's so many other diseases that have not been eradicated, like cancer. I don't know that it's been eradicated. I don't know that it's getting better. I mean, it's probably getting worse. The flu has been around for a long, long time. It was not getting even close to eradicated until all of a sudden all these COVID PCR tests came out, and doctors had all these reasons to be like, well, if you have a cough and you have this, you have COVID-19. And all of a sudden the flu numbers are drastically down. So we've had 80 years of the flu vaccine, and the flu was around for 80 years until COVID came around. And all of a sudden New York Times is just blown away that it's just disappeared off the map, or, lowered to such a low extent. So the point I'm getting is, just because we have a virus that gives Gavin Newsom the power to just do whatever he wants till the end of time, well, it's still here. It's like, well, there's a lot of diseases. There's a lot of coronaviruses. There's a lot of infectious diseases. There's a lot of contagious diseases. There's a lot of STDs. There's a lot of things that just haven't gone away because we haven't found a complete cure, and it just isn't how the world works. So I don't think that should give you the executive power forever, but that's what he's thinking. And that's why even bowing down to this for 15 days or such is so dangerous. So I hope Californians wake up, because we do have a special election, and it's the way that the media operates and the way that the left versus right kind of circus, it gets so many left-wingers not even caring about that. Like I watch CNN, I watch Fox, not often, but I see what they have on, and they're both painting totally different narratives. So you have people living in two different worlds, and then they fight each other. But there's people over those two worlds who are laughing hysterically. It's like, these people live in California. They're crying about a heartbeat bill in Texas, which is basically like, if there's a heartbeat, just let it live, let it grow. And people are furious about that, but they don't even realize in their own state it's declining. Los Angeles is declining. San Francisco is declining. Venice Beach is declining. Santa Monica is declining. Beverly Hills is declining. The whole state's declining. The state has been, got bombarded with homelessness. And now you have your own leader basically giving himself the authority to do virtually not anything he wants, but more than he ever had before, more than's usual, because it didn't disappear. And I will say this before I move on. I've said it a few times, so let's not get, too ahead of ourselves. But if you look at the flu, and I'm not saying this is the flu, I have to say that because they'll try to fact check it. But if you look at the flu, it always had the seasonal flu, the flu season. These are words that we use because with that, respiratory virus or whatever you want to call it, there was a season, usually winter, when it just goes big. And then in the summer, it goes lower. So they rolled out the vaccine towards summer. Now the cases are going down. And Gavin Newsom says it's not going away. So I suspect if it's anything like other things that we are familiar with, it's gonna spike again in the winter. I think it's gonna spike again in the winter. And all these variants, I did a whole stream before, but look into the flu vaccine and the variants. They've said up until 2019, they could never fully eradicate the flu because even the vaccine that they chose, there's so many variants at a certain point that it's hard to pinpoint which one's going to hit which hemisphere. So they're acting like this is brand new, where it's like, oh my God, there's a new variant. It's like we've had other things with other variants. I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but that didn't mean that you could shut down society. That didn't mean Uber Eats and Amazon could take over while mom and pop shops can't work. That doesn't mean people can't eat indoors. They have to eat outdoors in the freezing cold. That's not what any of this means. So they're going to play tricks with the variants. They're going to play tricks with the testing. They're going to play tricks with the seasons. And I think Republicans really need to get smart. Liberals definitely need to get smart. But, this is why, and I'm going to say it at the end, people got to tune out of this Republican circus. Ron DeSantis knows what he's doing. The rest of them, I can't really say I'm really that impressed with any of them, including Trump. They're like talking about Germany. He's like, Germany. I'm watching the speech today. And he's like, man, Germany owes us money. It's like, bro, that was cool to me in 2018. I'm like, dude, yeah, Germany does owe us money. Yeah, Mexico owes us money. Whatever. Yeah, I'm American. I'll beat my chest like King Kong. Whatever. Give us money. But now it's like, dude, we just printed trillions of dollars under your presidency. So it's like hearing about how Mexico owes us a couple 10 million, 100 million. Isn't that cool when you're printing trillions of dollars? Trillions, guys. They printed trillions. Who cares about these little trade deals that Trump won? That was awesome in 2018. In 2020, after he prints money, this is the trade deal. This is the print lockdown. It's like, and he doesn't even talk about it like it's a big thing. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to fight Germany. We're not fighting Germany. This isn't World War II. But in general, it's like, this is the narrative that people need to win. Yes, you could just move to Florida. Yes, Texas is good for now, I think, to some extent. But I really hope that Republicans understand they're going to use medical tyranny, COVID-19, climate lockdowns there. And this is not a conspiracy theory. I can show you 20 news articles where they're bragging about doing this. If you don't understand the variant game, if you don't understand the testing game, if you don't understand how they're counting, if you don't understand the mandatory vaccination, agenda going on, if you don't understand seasonal and how in the winter and fall they're going to fearmonger and nobody's even Governor Abbott, he's like, well, all the cases are going down. That's awesome, bro. I'm glad you got people vaccinated, but also it's summer. And, I think that that's usually a thing in the summer with other respiratory diseases. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe, 80 years of flu data doesn't really matter anymore because now we have COVID and miraculously that's just going to get way, way, way worse in the summer or whatever. But anyway, just my thoughts. I think the Republicans need to get smarter and the base really needs to realize no more running in circles. If they're not doing half of what DeSantis is doing, they're not your guy. They're just going to mislead you because this is what they're going to use to take away your amendments. Speaking of take away amendments, I can't believe that this happened, but somehow among all of the executive orders I was talking about with the whatever it's called, emergency, a judge overturns California's 32-year ban on what they're calling assault weapons. I know a lot of people who like guns on my page will say it's not really an AR-15 is not an assault weapon. That's not what it stands for. I'm just reading the article. That's what they call it. Some people, you can call it what you want. I guess you could call it a candy cane, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. I'm going to read this. It says a federal judge has overturned California's 3-decade-old ban on assault weapons, calling it a failed experiment that violates people's constitutional right to bear arms. Incredible. U.S. District Judge Roger Benitez, based Hispanic of San Diego. It didn't say based Hispanic. I said that. I'm reading AP, putting in my own words. I apologize. I just got excited. U.S. District Judge Roger Benitez of San Diego ruled on Friday that the state's decision of illegal military-style rifles unlawfully deprives law-abiding Californians of weapons commonly allowed in most other states and by the U.S. Supreme Court. He said, under no level of heightened scrutiny can the law survive, Benitez said. He issued a permanent injunction against enforcement of the law, but stayed it for 30 days to give State Attorney General Robert Bonta time to appeal. Governor Gavin Newsom condemned the decision, calling it a direct threat to public safety and the lives of innocent Californians. In his 94-page ruling, the judge spoke favorably of modern weapons and said they were overwhelmingly used for legal reasons. He said, like the Swiss Army knife, the popular AR-15 rifle is a perfect combination of home defense weapon and homeland defense equipment. Good for both home and battle, the judge said. I mean, this judge is kind of epic. I'm not going to lie. He's like, it's good for battle and your home. I'm like, dude, this judge is crushing. I mean, does he have an Instagram? I might follow him. Anyway, yeah, it's a pretty big decision. And that's what makes America great, I think. The fact that even when you have governors trying to assume basically dictator power for executive order, somehow some based Hispanic judge comes through and just compares it to a Swiss Army knife and says that it's perfect for home defense. I mean, you got to love that. So, I mean, shout out to that judge. That's a bold move and, very, very, very promising amongst all the bad news, I guess, that can happen. And I have to say this, when I was growing up, I always supported the Second Amendment, even when I leaned left, because I always thought to myself, I don't support the Second Amendment. I didn't even support it for home defense. I didn't support it for duck hunting. I didn't support it because I liked gun violence. I always thought to myself, if America had no guns, even when I was younger, if America had no guns, we'd be sitting ducks for any foreign or domestic threat, So I've always, even when I was more liberal, I don't know. I just never, I can't say I ever trusted the whole world. I saw how corrupt the corporate class was. I saw how corrupt the government was. I was like, yeah, I don't think that we want to be unarmed. I don't know. I just think it's a good thing to have. And, I think there's an old saying, behind every blade of grass in America, there's a person with a gun or a gun. And that could be scary, but it could also be like, a foreign nation knows that. So I always thought, well, hopefully we'll never get conquered because so many people have guns. On that note, now that I get older, now that I learned so much, I used to be against getting rid of certain guns. Like when I was maybe 18, 19, I would have been like, I support the Second Amendment, but you shouldn't have that gun. You shouldn't have that gun. I was naive. I didn't know that much. I'm just reading headlines, listening to like people like John Oliver and whatever, Jimmy Kimmel style, like comedians who really weren't. But now that I get older, I'm starting to see a certain trend, and they don't want to talk about this, but regardless of what you think about guns, I talked to the police officers in Los Angeles at a protest. I just asked them a question. I said, how many guns that people are killing people with in Los Angeles, how many of them are legal and how many of them are illegal? And he turned to me and he said, almost every gun that we arrest somebody with that's committing a crime is done with an illegal gun, an unregistered gun that they stole or bought on the black market. So I really quickly learned that, it wasn't the legality of it. It's just bad people with them. And I think in a lot of states that they know that nobody will stop them, it gives criminals an easier time. So when I look at certain neighborhoods and communities and strict gun laws, it's like people, at least in America, it is what it is. They're going to get guns. Unfortunately, if they want one, they could probably figure out how to get one. And I think what we have is, a mental problem. You could call it mental health. You can call it cultural problem. But we have a certain group of people and a certain vibe going on in certain cities where it's like a war zone. It's like Afghanistan, where if you go to the South and you go to like the rural South, no offense, people aren't just killing each other like conservative cowboys just murdering each other all the time like it's a, John Wayne movie. That's not what's happening. You have inner cities like Houston, Dallas, Chicago, Los Angeles, and you have people who are just not acting right. So I don't think it's a gun problem. I know this is like a generic thing that everybody says, but it's not a gun problem. It's a people problem. It's not a, over weapons problem. It's like a cultural and a mental problem. But the media, they hate good people, in my opinion, and they love criminals. Like, no offense, but David Dorn was a good guy. I don't have to say no offense because it's true. David Dorn was a black police officer who was retired, who went to protect a pawn shop, and he got murdered, and they barely cared about it at all. Only conservatives cared. But then they put George Floyd on a pedestal for a year and act like he's the greatest person ever. He's Martin Luther King. He's Malcolm X. It's like, this is the message they want to tell the people. Like, I'm not saying what the police officer did was right at all, because I'm not a police officer. I don't know if that's direct protocol. And obviously on the camera, it looked messed up to anybody who saw it at first glance. But then you see the body cam footage, you see how much fentanyl he's on. It's like, is that really what you want to be, though? I'm not saying everybody's down and out. Everybody knows somebody who's a drug addict, so it's no disrespect. But it's like, what about telling people to be like David Dorn? What about telling people that they are smart, that they can make it, that they can buy an ID, that they can, that they should be grateful to be in America because there's other countries where they wouldn't have the First Amendment. They wouldn't have the right to bear arms. There's other countries, if you criticize China, you have to leave because you're not allowed to. You could talk shit on Trump every day and nobody cares. They actually like it. So it's like, well, this is a great country. There's bad things, there's good things, but, the media keeps driving this wicked message through music, through sports, through culture into people's heads. And then they act shocked that these cities, people are just murdering each other with mostly unregistered guns. So I really believe as I grow up, it's not a gun problem. It's a people problem. It's a cultural problem. And it's something going on demographically that they don't want to talk about. They say the opposite, which is going to just make America less safe. And to wrap it up, if you look at other countries that don't have guns, the government tends to be more tyrannical. Canada, New Zealand, they're like in perpetual lockdown all the time. They have no balls left, for lack of a better word. So it's like they're just sitting ducks at this point. It's like the lines blurred between Canada and communist China are getting very small, and America is creeping up too. So, as far as a deterrent for a home invasion, a deterrent if you own a building and somebody's breaking in, and just in general, that thing that everybody knows in the back of their head, where if you want to conquer Canada, it's open season. If you want to conquer New Zealand, it's open season. If you want to conquer Europe, it's already being conquered in a different way. But, it's open season for certain things to happen. They have a huge rape problem that the media never talks about there. And I talked to girls from, Europe who are telling me like France is really bad, but the liberals are so liberal in Canada, they won't talk about the rapes. They won't talk about the rape gang. She's like, I know women who just got raped, like in Paris, just walking. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, flirting and she's Me Tooing and lying. I'm talking about just like straight up rape, like off the street, like the real deal stuff just happening all the time in Europe. And the liberals don't want to seem racist and they don't want to seem anti whatever, so they don't even talk about it. And all these people are just completely useless because you can't even do anything there. It's like, not only do they not have the First or Second Amendment, you can't talk about it, you can't protect themselves. Their culture is just being ripped away. Their women are just being completely, abused. And it's like here, everybody's thinking to themselves, if you're in Texas and you're robbing a store, it's not like robbing a store in San Francisco. If you rob a store in San Francisco now, they actually passed a law. This is how dumb liberals have gotten. They passed a law in California, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but if you steal under $1,000 worth of stuff, look it up. They've made it easier to steal. They're incentivizing theft. It's like, if you steal this much, under this much, we'll go easy on you. So people are stealing more, and they know that nobody has guns in San Francisco, and it's not legal to just shoot somebody for stealing something. So I think people are like, well, I mean, if I steal it, I probably won't even go to prison for that long or at all. So, no, but if you steal something in Texas, it's like the Wild Wild West. You know that you might leave that store with a bullet in the back of your head. And while I don't promote that or justify that, I'm just saying, you also shouldn't rob a store at gunpoint. So if you do, like they try to do at churches sometimes, it's like people shoot back. So it shouldn't have to be like that, but it can be a defense mechanism to protect yourself from a criminal. And people think twice in areas that are heavily armed, because it's not like a little skirmish. Like, I'm going to take this, and it's like, you got to think about what you do. You shouldn't hurt people. You shouldn't rob people. You shouldn't, attack people. And in certain states, look at the crime by gun laws. There is no correlation between heavy gun laws and gun-free zones in schools and just safety. There is none. There is a huge correlation when it comes to gun murder, and that correlation is the opposite of what the media is talking about. The media is constantly, promoting white supremacy as the number one threat in America. That's what it is. This is what's killing everybody. There is a racial gun violence, correlation there, but it's almost the exact opposite of what they're saying. There's another group of people that are overwhelmingly committing a massive amount of murders, especially in their own racial community. I'm talking like 80, 90%. So when they pick off a white cop who does something, this is the anomaly. This is the one that they had to search for 2 years to find. And it's not even usually a great narrative, where it's like they have to take it out of context, show you the body cam footage a month later after they pushed in all their propaganda, because it's really that rare. As much as I don't even like cops that much, it's not that common. What is common is little girls being shot in the middle of the street. 10 people killing each other every weekend in Chicago, and the media doesn't care about it because it doesn't fit their racial narrative. And if lives really matter, this would be a conversation that they'd look at to try to help people. But if you've ever lived in a liberal city over the last 5 or 10 years, one thing that you realize is the media doesn't care about you, and Democrats don't give a crap about you. Just look at Los Angeles. They don't care that people are getting attacked all the time because they changed the laws in Venice Beach, and now it's getting overrun by crackheads and just degenerates that are just camping out on the streets. It's like living in a zombie apocalypse. Move to a nicer area, and you'll ask yourself, how in the world did I even live there that long? I lived in Hollywood for a long time and other parts of LA. Now I'm like, I don't even want to drive back there. People like, come to LA. I'm like, dude, you got to pay me to come back there, and a lot more than you think, because I don't want to go there. It's not worth the money. I hate LA. It's like, I like the people. I like what it used to be. It's like going to hell. It's like, hey, do you want to go to hell? Degenerate, demonic, wicked, advertisements all the way, the most disgusting, perversive, or subversive, just billboards everywhere you go, just crap and trash all over the street, just homeless people all over. Any sort of actual economy that they had was ripped out. So now it's just complete degeneracy everywhere. It's like, you can't pay me enough to go back to that. Do they care about people? Are they trying to save lives? Do they care about violence? They don't care at all. And it doesn't root from the weapon. It roots from the mindset, what people are thinking, what they're doing. And the media is not stopping it. They're starting it. They're the reason that people feel this way. They feel emboldened to do that. When they let people riot through the streets, through Hollywood, through New York City, through Minneapolis, they sent out a message to every degenerate in the world, not just every activist, not just every whatever. They sent out a message to every criminal, every degenerate, every thief, anybody who just wants to rob or hurt somebody. They said, this is activism now. This isn't bad. You're supposed to think that's bad. If you steal something, that's not good. If you hurt an old lady, that's bad. If you smash a window to a store, that's horrible, because there's a human being who knows if they're black or white or Asian. Who cares? There's a human being who owns that property, and you probably don't even know them. So why would you try to hurt somebody that you don't even know? That's really bad. But they told people, no, this is good. You will be bailed out of jail. You will be rewarded for this. So this has forever probably changed a lot of areas. Now, millions of people are like, no, this is good. This is, they incentivize crime. And then they turn around and act like they want to stop crime when they're incentivizing it through legislation, through the media, through culture, through sports leagues like the NBA, through even like kid shows now. It's like, this is what they want your kids growing up to think is good. It's bad to smash a window. It's bad for people to hurt each other, regardless of what race you are, regardless of what race is doing it to what race. I don't care if it's a black person hitting an Asian mom, an Asian kid hitting a black mom. It's like, stop hitting elderly people. Stop hurting people in the like. This is a message of peace that they don't have any interest in. They want to find once or twice a year a narrative that divides black and white, left and right, red and blue, and just use it to fundraise and use it to further destroy the cities. Every time they push this, did any major city get more? Did any major city get more prosperous? Are black people thriving in major black cities now because of Black Lives Matter? No, I would guess they're doing worse because of the lockdown that nobody wants to talk to. If you care about black empowerment, the lockdown was the single worst thing for black empowerment in probably the last 50 or so years. They destroyed millions of black businesses. They destroyed any area that had an economy. That's the big story. That's why you'll never hear any NBA player talk about it, because that's real activism. Real activism is not backed up by the banks. It's not backed up by Taco Bell. It's not backed up by McDonald's. It's not backed up by the NBA. It's not backed up by billionaires and politicians. Real activism is nowhere to be found. And that's real black empowerment that they don't care about. So after their whole rampage, you have cities, especially black majority cities, getting worse, getting less valuable, getting, people will still buy up your houses like real estate agents and stuff. But as far as like life for people in these cities, it's not gotten better, because they're not trying to make it better. They're trying to exploit people. And also I think it's conditioning of like destroying property. I'm not trying to get conspiratorial because I have a video tomorrow, but I've read the Communist Manifesto, and one of the main rules is abolition of private property. If you talk to any conservative or libertarian, or if you want to be fair, most smart liberals, you have property. One of the most powerful things you can own in America or in the world, but especially here, is property. If you're a black man, owning property is awesome. Owning land is great. Owning something that's yours that nobody could take away, no white man, no government, no anybody, that's real power. The communists want to take away private property. You don't own anything. Your restaurant, did you work hard? Maybe your ancestors worked their asses off to get you that restaurant in that area, and they just took it away with the lockdown. And then people are just smashing things. So now they're pushing the narrative of, you don't own that. You can't run your shop. That shop could get smashed in. There was some dude crying in Minneapolis. It was a black dude. He's crying because he worked his ass off to own a bar, and people just smashed his window in. It's like, how's that? It's not helping. It's these people pushing this thing that nothing matters. You own nothing. You don't own that store. You don't deserve that window. You're the problem. And as they smash, the billionaires buy up. What's Bill Gates doing? He's buying farmland. Why? Because he knows that buying land is empowerment and owning food is empowerment. So he's doing that as people are justifying smashing up neighborhoods. Who's going to come in and buy the smashed up neighborhoods when the money goes low? Probably billionaires, and other people will probably buy that land. But it's conditioning to make you think not only my community doesn't matter, I shouldn't empower my community, I should just smash it. And I don't want to harp too much on this, but it really sickens me because I lived in Los Angeles for 7 years and I connected with people. Like, I'm not, I didn't live in a white neighborhood, because honestly, most of Los Angeles and in the areas that are not super expensive, they're not white. Most of my neighbors were Hispanic. Most of the people I played soccer with, all of them were Hispanic. One guy was Italian. I knew the Thai people on the store. And there's nothing wrong with white people either. Not that I have to pander, but I'm just saying I started to know people in my community and liking them as human beings. So it's like when I see you smash the coffee shop, I know who owns that shop. I know who works there. When I see you guys terrorize the neighborhood that I live in, I know who owns the Thai store. They're really nice people, and they work their asses off to have to live in a shit city, that is just getting shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier. And then there's these homeless people by the Chick-fil-A that I used to live by. There was an axe attack where some dude attacked somebody with an axe. How do you think the Thai ladies that work at the Thai, how do you think they feel knowing people are getting attacked with axes outside their door and there's 5 homeless people lined up about 100 feet from them staring at them? It's scary, and I'm not a soft guy. It's creepy. I would be grateful every time I got home to my apartment because I didn't feel safe for the last 3 years I lived there. Like just going to IHOP was a mission. I was grateful for my meal because it wasn't easy to get, and I'm not trying to overhype it, but it's like, it's not fun. It's not. So I take it as a real insult when I see these people go out in the streets, claim they love black people, claim they love Asian people, and then just destroy the neighborhood, just destroy the city, just make it worse and worse and worse and worse. And nobody cares. And Jimmy Kimmel will never talk about it. And Trevor Noah will never talk about it. They're actors. They're puppets. They don't care. They don't care about the people there. It's all an act. And it really disgusts me because it's like, the city itself is degenerating, but there's millions of good people in Los Angeles. And the fact that I can get out, I'm not from there. I'm not born and raised there. I have enough money to leave. And even if I didn't have enough money, I'd find somewhere that was cheaper and move there. Like I have the resources. I didn't build that much in Los Angeles that I was stuck there. I don't have generational family there. I didn't come over on a boat or a plane and land in California where that's all I know. There's a lot of people where that's all they have. So they can't leave. They have a store in Hollywood, so they can't go. And they have to suffer and they have to deal with this. And nobody's covering it and nobody's talking about it. And activism to them is smashing in windows because, they favor some guy who, I guess is their new idol now that I would argue probably was not as righteous of a person as David Dorn. It's not a competition, but it's like, that's who you promote. And then you murder some guy who was like a nice old black guy who was trying to protect his neighborhood and nobody says a peep about it. What message does that send? The same message that California sends when they say, if you steal under $1,000 worth of stuff, we'll go easy on you. What does that say to a criminal? Well, I might as well keep my theft under $1,000 because I know I'm not going to get bopped for it. And that's exactly what's happening. So when theft and crime goes up, it's not the guns, it's the policy, it's the people, it's the politicians, and it's the culture, and it's also the community. And Los Angeles, these liberals who live there are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. All they do is act like they're so dope on Twitter, and then they do nothing for their community. They're nowhere to be found. Nothing for the people there, regardless of their race, their religion, their gender. They just hurt. They just steal. They just destroy. And I'm so tired of it. So when it comes to, the judge overturning the 32-year ban on what they would call assault weapons, I think liberals need to figure out it's not the weapon, it's the people, the politician, the politics, but more importantly than that, the culture. And the culture comes from the community. So it's the community. If you live in a good community, you can keep it. If you live in a trash community and people trash it, eventually the good people are going to leave. And when the good people leave, you're going to be left with what you're left with. And Los Angeles is suffering for that reason. So at a certain point, they're either going to have to turn around or, just completely just go the route of Sodom and Gomorrah. But I'm very grateful for a judge who finally looked at the Constitution and said, the Second Amendment is not the problem here. The Second Amendment is not the correlation of crime. Most of the guns are done with illegal. It's a deterrent, and good people deserve it, not bad people having free range. And good people are constantly the enemy, constantly need to be stolen from. A society that steals from good people, that destroys good people, tries to ruin them in the media every way possible, and makes it easier to be a wicked person, is a society that is, is going to fail. So I'm very optimistic, but someone said Jim Carrey exposed Jimmy Kimmel on the gym with the triangle thing. Yeah, I don't think much of that. I don't know. He just threw up the triangle and it's hung out. I don't know if that meant anything or he's just fooling around. But No offense, I love Jim Carrey. He's one of the best actors of my lifetime. Jimmy Kimmel's a funny guy. I'm tired of them. Jim Carrey just like paints a bunch of like angry, things about like Republicans, and Jimmy Kimmel just says whatever they want him to say. They can't do much for me. But Jimmy Kimmel should know better. His building, God bless Jimmy Kimmel, his building is a Freemason temple. If you look, it says Freemason builds its temples among the nations or in the hearts of men or something. I don't know. I've seen it because I used to live in that neighborhood. So I've seen it quite a few times. It's a Freemason temple where Jimmy Kimmel used to do a show out of, right on Hollywood Boulevard. But in general, just a fun side note, how could you do that to your community? Like, you look at Hollywood Boulevard, it's just got worse and worse and worse. How come they don't say anything about it? How could you go into work every day, see what's happening to your city, and just act like it's not happening and be part of the reason it gets worse? Like, do they not know this stuff? Is it a price? I don't know. But it's like, it hurts me as somebody who lived in that community. I wasn't up in the hills with all the rich people. I was on the street with the people who were working, hustling, making $10 an hour, making $15 an hour, running the shops that kept the whole thing afloat. And these people go in their ivory towers, look down on us, talk shit about everybody, make it worse, boost politicians who are destroying us, harass politicians who are trying to help us, and then they call it a day and drive out the back lot and act like they're doing something. It's like, I don't know how it, someone said no coverage. I did a video. I don't know if it's still on there, but I had a video where I stood on Hollywood Boulevard and I had a camera and I said, hey, I just showed people on Hollywood Boulevard. I said, check out these tents. And they're like, whoa, where is that? I'm like, literally 2 blocks from there. Where is that? Literally downtown LA. But a lot of it was in Hollywood. And I had some guy from Nigeria say, this is worse than most places I've ever seen in Africa. Like, we always talk about Africa as if, oh my God, there's so much. Nigeria's dope. I plan to go there one day. I have a lot of Nigerian supporters, but I'm just saying there's parts of Africa that really are struggling wealth-wise and even getting access to things that we take for granted. There are some rundown parts. He was like, dude, I've never seen anything like this. Like, yes, there's poverty. Yes, there's bad places, but I've never seen this much like crap and tents and trash, like in an area where, I know what he's saying. I've been to islands that have been hit by hurricanes that have like no economy, where like the entire island got destroyed by a hurricane. It's not even as bad as Skid Row. Like, are the buildings nice in downtown? Of course, they're way nicer than on an island that got destroyed, but you don't see that much trash. Even when, a hurricane took out like all of the buildings, like the buildings are destroyed. But as far as like that much trash and that much crap, all like spanning 50 blocks, it's hard to find that. People come from UK. They're like blown away that exists. And this was 3 years ago. It's all getting worse. Skid Row, Venice Beach. I'm going to do a whole story on Venice Beach. They changed the rule during COVID, and now there's just tents. They're ruining Venice Beach. They're ruining Santa Monica. They're ruining Beverly Hills. They're ruining Hollywood. They've already ruined Hollywood. West Hollywood used to be nicer, and now they're ruining that. The whole city is just, I watched it go from here to here to here to here to here, and it gets no coverage. And it hurts me because I know that these people know that, the Ellens and the Jimmys. I know they know this. It's like, at a certain point, is it really worth it? Maybe it is. Maybe the money's worth it and the fame, but how could you not care? I don't know. I have too big of a heart and a soul to just push this lie. And they're going to keep using these things. They know what triggers the left. They talk about saving abortions, hating Trump, the guns, and like people keep buying into it because they think they're doing something nice. They think a lot of these liberals are trying to save the world. I know because I was there. Like, I don't want people to shoot each other. I don't want women to lose rights and stuff. But it's the left that uses the strings to then take everything away from you. They're taking your freedom. They're taking your money. They're taking away your right. They're ruining what made America great as they're pretending that it's the right. And the right is kind of whack too. I'm going to read a few questions, and I don't want to trigger people too much, but I listened to Trump's speech today. And to me, it sounds like he's trying to program people in a world that doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, after the COVID stuff, where it's like he's not making a big statement about, kids being forced in masks and forced inoculations and where we're going. Like, Ron DeSantis is really fighting a little harder. Trump is talking about Germany. And it's like, I'm just thinking to myself, who cares if you want to fight Germany for a few extra bucks? It's like none of that matters anymore because you just printed so much money. If you could print $2 trillion and you could save $50 million with Germany or $1 billion, who cares anymore? Do the math between $10 billion and $2 trillion. We're net 1.9 trillion down. It doesn't matter anymore. So it just seems like people love Trump because he's super funny. He's super likable. I get it. But it's like, I feel like I'm watching a clown circus. He's like, man, Joe Biden fell down the stairs. I would never fall down the stairs. It's funny. He's a funny, likable guy. Trump is a very authentic guy. But how many times am I going to hear about Joe Biden falling? I want to hear about what's going on. And I feel like he's trying to get people trapped in this old mindset where it just seems like, and everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, this is like, it just seems like a trap to me. But let me know what you guys think, because he's definitely likable. He's definitely cool. But I just think he's lost the plot. He's lost what's going on. And he's like, it's all like a big show that would have made sense in 2017. Let's see. Someone said he's being honest and you can't handle it. That's not what it is. I don't mind honesty. I'm just saying, like, if I'll say it again and I'll move on. If you don't understand the mass testing scheme, if you don't understand what's going on with the vaccines and the medical, push to basically mandate it, if you don't understand how they're going to use variants to extend this later, if you don't understand all these ways that they're going to take away your freedom, which Trump doesn't seem to care about any of them, he just wants credit for it. He's not the leader of the freedom movement. He's the leader of He's a leader of personality. His personality is awesome and people like him. So they'll probably vote for him again. So, in my opinion, if he runs and he wins, it's just going to be another 4 years of circusry, letdown and disappointment. Because if you don't understand at this point that it's just like a little bit of a spectacle with not that much delivery, it is what it is. But I'm not going to talk about it forever. Someone said, I'd rather see DeSantis and Paul run in 2024. That's a good ticket. At this point, that's a way better ticket in my opinion. But I'm only one person. Who knows? But I would vote for Paul or DeSantis 1,000 times before I voted for Trump again personally. But someone said it's all about perception and control. Yeah, I agree. And that's what I'm saying with perception. Like, Trump is so powerful that he could say anything and everyone love it. If Trump said exactly what I said, if Trump went on stage and said, hey guys, most of the hospitalizations were obesity. Most of the deaths were in obese country. We have an obesity problem. We're testing. We're acting like variants are brand new. If Trump said what I just said right there, everyone would love it. That's the perception of like, that's a narrative that will actually stop the tyranny. But Trump makes a joke about Biden falling. He talks about Germany, build a wall, Israel. I did the vaccine and people cheer. Trump has the minds of the right wing. He could do anything. He could poop his pants and just throw it and be like, Biden's going to eat my poop, and everyone would laugh. He could say left and everyone would say left. He would say right. Everyone would say right. Trump could say, I did the vaccines, and everyone would cheer and be like, thank God he brought the vaccines. And then Trump could say, I don't trust the vaccines anymore. And people would be like, I don't trust them either. So it's like, at what point is he just a ringleader of like a show? I feel like he could get away with literally anything, and not everybody, but like 60% of the base, they don't care what he's saying. They just like him as a person. It's like and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being honest. I know at least 100 people who love Trump who don't like the mandatory vaccinations, and they don't feel like getting inoculated personally, and they don't like any of this stuff. If Trump were to do the exact opposite of what he did, they would support it. So that just shows me that they don't stand in their morals and they don't really care about anything except for Trump. Trump's their world. He's like, it's high school. I'm a Trump supporter. I go to the Trump events. I get paid. A lot of these people are getting paid now too. Oh, you like Trump? You can come here. You can work for us. You could do this. You could do that. We'll put you here. We'll give you $50,000 a year. You could be the Trump guy. Here's the Trump thing. You want to go to the Trump event? Here's the Charlie Kirk. You could dance with that girl. That's a Trump girl. You're a Trump guy. She's a cute girl. You're a good guy. You guys could be a Trump couple. And it's like high school for Trump supporters. But they don't realize that they lost the plot a year ago, because it doesn't, You don't want to lose the money. You don't want to lose the friends. It's a community. It's now a community that the community means well, but they don't even realize that their leaders caught in 2017 making the same jokes over and over, making the same comments over and over, and being on the wrong side of the medical stuff, which it's not going to work, but it's whatever. Someone said it's a rally, not a press conference. It's a good, fun event for people who want to watch Trump just do the Trump act. It's fun. He's a funny guy. It's the Trump show. Let me just say the same 18 things that I've said over the past 4 years and make you laugh a few times. It's a good show, but as far as like, I'm totally over it. Just like I'm over the emails. It's not funny to me anymore. He's still really funny, but it's like, oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna get our money from Germany. It's like, dude, you printed $2 trillion and told Thomas Massie to leave the party. Thomas Massie is one of the only principled Republicans, and you try to kick him out of the party, and he's the only one talking about forced vaccination, and you don't even want him to be there, and you're joking about Joe Biden slipping up a thing and talking about how you're going to get money from NATO. It's like, is this 2017 or 2021? Because it doesn't matter if you cut a trade deficit by $50 million if you print $2 trillion. Guys, a trillion is 1,000 billions. None of Trump's trade policies mean anything anymore. It doesn't matter if you save $100 billion from China if you print $2 trillion and they've been open for a year now. You get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like once you print as much money as he did, it's like, it's like scoring 5 points and then the enemy scored 100 points and you're like, I scored 5 points. I'm going to score 5 points. Yeah, but you're down 95. The winning narrative is way bigger than what he's saying. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, it's a big show. He's a big joker. He's a big clown. He's the king clown of his own little world. And people buy into that world, but that world is what sunk us in 2020. And that world is not going to bring back the country. So, I'm not trying to be mean. I like him as a person. He's very funny. A rally's a rally, but to me, I don't see him as the leader of America anymore. It's just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I hope people know what I'm talking about, but I don't really care. Someone said, I really do like his America First talk, though. We need to hear that for sure. I don't want to cut the guy short. He's done more than any at the beginning. It's like a paradox. He did this and then he did this and then he did this. It was great for what it was. And I think he inspired millions of people, but yeah, the America First stuff is important, but it's like mixing America First with this, with that. It is what it is, but there's a lot, I mean, if you watch a Trump speech long enough, you're going to hear good things. It's not like the guy's just a total liar. Like he'll go up, he'll say this, he'll say this. I mean, he's a unique guy. You're never going to see someone like him again. So it's like, enjoy the show. But, I think the America First type people, that's kind of like a next level thing, or at least like just a different, I'm not even America First in the sense of like, that's not my whole world, but there's got to be a different narrative to really cut through what's going on, in my opinion. But Alexander said, immigration is the biggest issue and Trump's the only president who's addressed the problem. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's like, if you build a wall and then the country locks down, and then, there's a massive surge afterwards anyway. I don't, did he really do something about immigration? I mean, I think he tried. I definitely think he tried. I'm not saying it's easy, but do you think he solved immigration? I don't think so. I think he definitely tried. I think his policies were better, but I don't know. I think there's a lot left to be desired, and it's not I'm not saying it's his fault, but I don't know. You really think he solved immigration? I think he definitely tried his best but someone said he didn't just build a wall, bro. No, let me know what he did. I'm not saying he didn't do anything. I'm just saying, I don't know that. I don't think immigration problem is solved at all, but I think he definitely tried. Someone said, look at the border now. I mean, you're not going to get me to defend Joe Biden. I think he's a worse person and a worse president, but that's what I'm saying. It's definitely not solved. Look at it now. Here's the thing, though. If Trump was in, I think it would be better. It definitely would not be what it is now, but I don't know that if you look at crossings and stuff, I don't know that he really solved it. And here's one thing I'll say. I don't know what ended up happening with DACA, but one of the things that really destroyed the Republican Party was Reagan granting amnesty. And the liberals know this when it comes to demographics. They'll say it's racist, but they know it's true. They talk about it all the time. When Reagan granted amnesty, it's a nice thing to do. It's like, I have a soul too. I've known people who are illegal before. I don't treat them differently. I'm like, listen, that could have been me. In another world, I could have been illegal. You know what I'm saying? So I personally treat everybody with love. And I've worked with illegals before, years ago. And not now, because then they're going to be like, where are they? And I'm like, listen, this is so long ago. But in general, I have love for them as people. But from an American policy, I mean, Reagan granted amnesty and that changed America forever. And Trump was willing to do the same thing. He was trying to strike a deal on it, which I get why politically it's a hard thing to do. But I think he definitely started something special. But I don't know. Personally, I don't think he solved immigration at all. And I think what's going on now is a testament to it. If it was solved, it would be over. Or it would be better. It's like, it's the can got kicked down the road and certain things got better and certain things got worse. But don't misconstrue this. I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying I have the solution. I'm just saying I don't know that it got solved, but I don't know. Mail order bride. That's a funny name. Who would you nominate as a Republican president nominee now? You just whine about Trump, but don't offer alternatives. Thank you for the comment, but me, I told you, I mean, if I had to choose from people, nobody's perfect. I know people are like, what about that? I like Rand Paul better. I like Thomas Massie better. I like DeSantis a lot better. Out of them, they've earned my respect more than Trump. I don't think he understands the COVID stuff. But more importantly than Trump, DeSantis, or Paul, because voting is only going to do so much, it's got to be a cultural shift. This is what I'm trying to say without being too rude. The culture matters. Trump changed the culture, and that was important. But now he's got the culture in a vice grip. So they watch his rally. He's not really talking about anything important, and everybody loves it because he owns the culture. Trump culture is Trump culture. He decides he could say this, and that would be the culture. He could say this, that would be the culture. It's not like people are really that principled anymore. It's like whatever Trump says, that's good enough. That's my guy. So I think it's the people need to shift the culture of conservatism, and then you'll get your leader. Trump will be better. DeSantis will be better. Rand Paul will be better, and they'll have to be better, or else people won't like them and vote for them and support them. So that's the problem. It's like Trump woke the culture up and then put us back to sleep with the 2020 lockdown. I feel like he got hit so hard by Fauci and China that he spun around and came back a different person. He's never been the same, but people are tuned into his culture. And that's all I'm saying. It's not like a person or a thing, but like the culture that he's pushing, I just don't see it. I just don't see that working out unless people get, more serious. But Ian said, it's clear that they will never let a DC outsider win again. The ruling elite lost their collective minds and then psychologically abused us all for it. What hope do we have? Real question. Well, I agree with the first part, but the hope, listen, don't look for your hope in humans or politics. I think we're still blessed. I like to put God above all personally. I don't, that's when people are like, well, what do we do about this? I'm like, I'm so over these clowns. Like, no offense. I'm not calling everyone clowns, but I'm so over the clowns in the circus. My worth, my life, my pleasure, it doesn't come from politicians anymore. I learned my lesson. I got burned so many times that I get it now. So, if you make your purpose bigger, and also just be grateful. Like, I listened to a Dr. Shiva interview today, or someone sent me a clip of Dr. Shiva, who, I'll chat with again soon. And thank you for the super chats, guys. And someone said, are you afraid they're going to come after you? And Shiva gave a really passionate speech where he's like, what is life? What is the point of life? Like, he's like, for me, I was, I came over from India. So I know what it's like to be poor. And he doesn't have an off switch because there's nowhere to run from. If you come to America like that, like, he's not afraid because it's scarier to be broke in India than it is to be wealthy in America talking shit. It's, it's a good place. So I think people are so afraid of consequences where it's like everyone's going to live and everyone's going to die. So, it doesn't matter whether COVID, not Trump, Biden, like eventually all our time's going to come to an end on earth. So you got to be the best version of yourself you could be. You got to have as much fun as you could possibly have. Maybe not too much fun, but at the end of the day, it's like, don't get too depressed over things that are only temporary anyway. Even if everything went amazing, it's like, I'm still going to get older. My body's going to start to wear down, and that's just going to happen anyway. So it's like, we can't stop that. So any attempt at getting too upset over what's going on in the physical world will, I think lead us to demise. So it's, I think we have hope because I personally believe, and I'm going to read another super chat in a second. I believe people are good. And there's good people at Facebook. There's good people who work with Fauci. There's good people all over the world. And I really think once good people get more comfortable, more comfortable telling the truth than they do lying, the world is filled with good people, but people are afraid to do what's right and they're comfortable doing what's wrong. That's the problem. Like people always ask me the same thing as Shiva. Are you scared? I'm more scared when I do something wrong. You guys are asking me if I'm scared when I do something right. I'm more scared when I do something wrong. It's like anything could be scary, but when the world gets more comfortable with doing what's right than what's wrong, this will all change because there's good people all over the world. Everyone's just afraid to do what's right and they're comfortable doing what's wrong. So if you can connect with people, it's like, this could all change so quickly. And in so many ways it did. Like Robert Redfield, CDC director, he said COVID-19 came from a lab. He thinks so. That's huge. Who cares if I say it or Trump says it? The ex-CDC director said it. That's huge. He got death threats. At a certain point, Robert Redfield, I'm not saying the guy's a saint, but at a certain point, he thought to himself, I think it came from a lab. And I'm not going to lie anymore. I don't care about the consequences. I'm not going to live a lie. I'm not going to cover up information. I can't do this anymore. I think it came from a lie. And that can change the world if enough people get more comfortable doing what's right than what's wrong. Am I scared? Not really, but also, like I said, I feel the worst when I do something wrong. You know what I'm saying? When I screw up, when I do something that I know is not right, that's when I feel bad. When I do something good and it gets big, I feel good. Is there backlash? Of course there's backlash for anything. You can't be successful in any industry without some sort of backlash. It doesn't matter if you're a big shot or a small fry as far as how, it's like anybody popular, whether it's in a town, a city, a country, the world, there's going to be backlash in your own family with your own friends. It's like, you can't avoid this. There's people who are like, do your family and friends. It's like, I'm blessed, but like everybody's got problems, like you could say you might have friends and family mad at you for a Facebook post. Like you can't avoid people being upset with you. So you gotta just, if enough, that's my hope for the world is like when enough people do what's right and step up and it becomes cool and popular to do that, I feel like this can all change. Winston said Trump also denounced Jeff Sessions, but he limited immigration, put in a refugee cap, and banned several Islamic countries from immigrating. Yeah, I mean, Sessions had pros and cons, I think, but not to harp on it too much, but I really do think that Trump demands loyalty from everybody, or he likes loyalty. And I don't think he's been very loyal to his supporters. I don't think he's been very loyal to people who served with him, like Bannon. I don't think he's really done much for a lot of people who got hurt along the way, like the Assanges and Alex Joneses. And I don't want to harp on it too much, but I think that's maybe his downfall as a person, where it's like he's super headstrong, he's super good at talking and stuff, but at a certain point, like the jig is up, at this point, to me, when you're so truthful, you can get away with it. But once he lost the truth, we lost. Everyone said, well, normally he has to lie in order to win the election. He has to lie about the jabs, because if he doesn't do it, someone else. Yeah, but the whole point of the Trump movement was like, he's so honest. You think he can't lose the election saying build a wall? He could have. He could have never won in 2016, but he went hard. He talked crap about Jeb Bush. He didn't care about the consequences. He had the truth on his side, and I feel like that helped him a lot. I don't know. I feel like once he lost righteousness, he lost. And I that's just my perspective. I don't know what's going on. It could be all a show. But to me, it's like when he had the right decisions on his side, I feel like that's a power they can't take away. They might have more money, they might have more power, but if you have the truth on your side, I think that could pierce through anything. And I think COVID was just a total scramble, and I'm not blaming him, but it's like it scrambled his whole agenda. It scrambled his whole ideology. It scrambled his speeches. They hit him with like a secret plan. I'm not saying they purposely did it, but it's like the COVID thing was a secret thing. Like it was just like, oh, what do you know? Now there's this thing here that just destroys the whole. And now it sent him in a different direction. And I'm not saying it's his fault, but I think that changed the trajectory of everything. Someone said under Obama, the economy was crap and there was a terrorist attack every other week. If Trump got a second term, he would definitely be more based. Here's the thing. I think he will be more based if people demand that of him. And this is what I'm concerned with Trump. People, people will jump down Kristi Noem's throat for doing 1/1000th of what Trump did. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying Kristi Noem's perfect, but they have crazy high standards for Kristi Noem, crazy high standards for Mike Pence. They want Mike Pence to overturn the election on January 6th, but Donald Trump can do 50,000 times what they did, and nobody talks about it. So that's my point, where it's like, could Trump be more based in a second term? 1,000%. But I don't think he has the motivation to do that, because the cult of Trump and the idolization of Trump is so big. People give him a pass with anything. If Rand Paul stepped out of line for 1 second, every Trump supporter could hate him. If Trump stepped out of line 20 times as much as Rand Paul, people would give him the pass and make excuses for it. I've never seen anything like it, where I'm like, you guys draw the line with Kristi Noem. You'll take her from here and throw her to the curb in a second for a bill that she said that she was going to delay to try to figure out how to fight it better. But Trump could lock the country down in Operation Warp Speed, and you'll make excuses for that. So you get what I'm saying? I feel like he could be a great president, but it's the people. You know what I'm saying? If you allow it, they will do it. So that's my one concern with Trump, is the fact that people look at him with starry eyes. He could say, I will never poop my pants. And people will be like, that's a good statement. He could say, actually, I would poop my pants. That's a good statement. He was like, we shouldn't rush the vaccines. We should take 4 or 5 years. And people will be like, that's true. We should take 4 or 5 years. Trump's saving the world. And Trump could say, actually, I rushed him in 7 months. I saved the world better than Fauci. I saved it by rushing it. And people was like, he did save the world by. It's like, you get what I'm saying? Trump has made so many people lose their morals, their values, their mind, their critical thinking skills. He could literally play. If I showed you a clip of Trump, him playing both sides of the fence on 50 issues, you would see 50 to 70% of the base. Literally, their mind would shift within a matter of 3 seconds just based on what he said. So it's not just his fault. Like, people need to worship God, in my opinion. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't try to push religion, but worship God, not Trump. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in Jesus Christ, think about Jesus Christ returning more than you think about Donald Trump returning. I've heard more about the return of Donald Trump from Christians than I've heard of the return of Christ. It's become a religion. And I'm not saying that to be edgy or mean or poke at people. Like, I've heard Trump's going to return 1 million times from 50,000 different channels. I've not heard them talk about the return of Christ. So who do they want to return? Christ or Trump? He is Christ to them. So that's the point I'm saying, is like, a second term of Trump could be great, but not if Trump supporters don't ever think about anything he does. It's like, hold Trump to the same standards that you'd hold Kristi Noem to. Hold Trump to the same standards that you hold Mike Pence to. Hold Trump to the same standards that you hold every other Republican to. Mitch McConnell. Hold Trump to those standards. That's all I ask. Don't hate him. Hold him to the standards you hold every other Republican to. And then he'd actually do something. But he has no incentive to do anything, because people worship the ground he walks on no matter what he does or not. It's getting to that point. Fajita said, America doesn't negotiate with terrorists, so future terrorists won't kidnap people. Giving amnesty to illegals tells immigrants, if you break the law, you will get free amnesty. I agree. That's why it's I totally agree. I have love for people on an individual basis, but if you incentivize a behavior, that's, why would they stop if they know, well, I could come in and, that's my stance as well. I think that's totally true. Great comment. Peter said, uncomfortable truth. The right will have very few substantive victories for the foreseeable future. The system is just too big and too powerful, and hitching ourselves to single personalities, especially counterproductive. I do think, and this is where I want to give people credit, I do think Trump started something special that is now, and I'm not trying to knock him out of the way, but it's he's doing this thing, but he started something that is getting powerful. I read recently that a very Hispanic town voted Republican for the first time in a while. Hispanics are going to vote Republican. I know people talk about demographic change, and I know people don't like to talk about race, but I don't mind it, because I know I'm not hateful. I'm not mean. I love people, and I don't feel concerned talking about it. But everyone talks about Brexit and black stuff, and Candace is doing her thing, but black people are 12 or 13% of the population. It's important. I'm not knocking it, but it's that demographic, it changed a little, but Hispanics, and once again, I'm not saying one group is more important than the other, but I'm just talking about statistically, Hispanics are the growing population. That's the one that's going to be 30, 40, 50, 60%, whatever. So, there's so much focus on the black community. there's like no focus on white people because it's like you just got to not talk about it. Like we don't exist. Like, oh my God, don't talk about white people. Like just condemn it or whatever. But the Hispanics are really going to decide the future, and I really think that Hispanics are going to be conservative. They just need the Telemundo crap needs to stop and CNN Espanol. But that message is going to resonate. And I think Trump got more Hispanic votes. He didn't get Hispanic votes because he put a plan out for Hispanics. They think the Republicans and the GOP, they think that's what it is. The American dream plan for Hispanics. I'm part Hispanic. I'm mostly white. I was offended, not crybaby snowflake offended. I was offended by the American dream plan for Hispanics. This is Trump pandering to Hispanics by giving the American dream to only one race. I happen to be both mixed. And I was like, dude, that's not fair to white people. Why are you giving an American dream plan to Hispanics? That's not why Hispanics vote for Trump and vote conservative. It's the fact that Trump had balls. That's why they like him. You put him on TV. No one cares what Telemundo says. Just translate what Trump's saying in Spanish and translate what Jeb Bush is saying in Spanish. Most Hispanic men looked at that and they were like, that guy's not lying. Hispanics don't need to be babied. You think they don't know about border security? You think there's not problems with border security in Mexico and illegal immigration? It exists all over. Of course, it's different in America because everyone wants to come here. You don't need to baby Hispanics. Just, Hispanics are not victim mentality. Like how many Mexicans or Hispanics, legal or illegal, complain about white supremacy? I don't know any. I grew up around Hispanics. I, played sports. No, I've never heard once like, oh my God, I'm the victim. No, I've worked on a farm and there's in Spanish, they said it's, I forget the exact word, but like, this is beautiful. I'm a spoiled kid. I'm like, this sucks. I hate farming. I grew up on a farm, but I'm like, this is shitty work. It's more beautiful. It's beautiful. The agriculture, he's like, this is beautiful. I'm like, that's what they said to me. They didn't say, oh my God, my skin color is hurting me and I need a better job. They're like, I'm having a good time. They don't play victims. So don't bring this, minority victim mentality American thing to Hispanics and act like that's going to just tell the truth. Have some balls. You'll get more of the Hispanic vote. That's why Trump got more votes for the GOP. It's not the American dream plan. It's not these Hispanic event. I've been to them. It's dope to network, but like there isn't really a push for that. They do that in the Black community so much. Like just tell the truth and translate it to Spanish. They'll get it quick enough, And I think in that culture, like people are stronger. They don't play the victim. They don't need, it's like, just say something that makes sense and they'll get it. You might be able to word it better. I think Trump sometimes is short with his words, but also in the same way that's easy to understand. Trump doesn't speak in big words. So when Trump talks, I'm like, that makes sense to me. I get it. I don't need 1,000 big words. So in some ways he could have worded things better. In another way, his simplicity was powerful. But I think that's like, I don't think the country's over. Yes, demographics are changing, but the Hispanic demographic will get it. And there's so many new influencers. There's so many people now that are carrying the torch that it's like people are starting to get it. I really see it. Like, I'm not going to say anything about the 2020 election because I can't say anything and I don't know. And I do think it's possible with the mass mail-in ballots because now you've made it easy. Here's one thing that a lot of people won't say on the right wing because they just want to talk about it being stolen. In my opinion, and don't take this as me covering up for it or saying it. I'm just being honest. And I said this in 2018. Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, more powerful than any other politician or any other entity ever. We've never had this much technology that understood us. I get ads for things that I don't even search for. I think about it and I get an ad for it. I'm like, are these people in my brain? Like, they're like, do you want a cheesesteak? Do you want these shorts? Yeah, I want those shorts, but how the hell did you know I wanted those shorts? So the point I'm trying to make is the tech companies got more powerful, more control, more data. We've never had algorithms like we've had. In 2016, they rigged it against Trump and Bernie. That's why I became an activist and a media figure. It was more the rigging of Bernie that got me into it of like, they're cheating. I know what they're doing. I understand Google. I understand what they're doing. They are making it hard to find information good about them. They're making it easy to find information bad about it. And they are hiding certain things, not based off popularity, but making sure that certain voices don't get out there. So in 2020, besides what you think could happen with the election, here's two things that should have probably been addressed beforehand by Trump and the GOP. You have Facebook, YouTube, Google, Instagram, all of these companies hate you. All of these companies want you to lose. All of these companies from 2016 to 2020 have rigged further and further and further and further. And I could probably make a 15-minute video and explain exactly how each of these websites is rigged because I understand it completely. I don't just say shadow banned. I know exactly what they're doing and I could word it out very easily. So they've rigged all their websites. Okay, that's huge. Guys, they have data on everybody. I don't agree with Google, but they have my address, my phone number, what I like, what I ate yesterday. They have everything. They're all sharing data. They all have information. It's so powerful to not just have everybody's info, but to have everybody's everything. So they have all of us locked in America. Then the country got shut down. Then they gave everybody a ballot at home. Trump is the type of person, he's going to bring everyone out to the ballot box, okay? Most of the people who like him, some people who hate him, but for the most part, that goes in favor of the Republican. Now you have a lockdown and you have a mass mail-in ballot. What does that do? It sends a ballot to every single person in the country or every single person in your state. If you're in certain states, okay, what did Facebook do? What did Instagram do? What did YouTube do? What did all of them do? Every time you logged in, they said, did you register to vote? Did you register to vote? Did you register to vote? Did you get your ballot? Did you register to vote? Did you get your ballot? They tapped into 300 million people in this country and forced everybody to vote. They took away any sort of event that, like most people, I'm going to Coachella. You know how many people don't give a crap? You know, like, oh, I'm just going to go to Coachella. I don't even care about Trump, whatever. Now they're sitting at home. Now they have nothing to do. Now every day that they log in, they get a notification. How many votes do you think that got for Joe Biden? Tens of millions of votes. Do I think that there was some funny business going on? I think so. Do I think it's possible that he could have got that many votes? I actually do. And not because I'm saying it was fair, because I'm saying they used technology that they never had before, had data on 300 million people, took away events, took away Coachella, took away travel, sat everybody in their house, mailed a ballot to their house, and told them every single day on the most powerful digital networks in human history to hundreds of millions of people every single day for 4 weeks about what to do as they're programming them, telling them what's happening and how bad Trump is. So this is the one thing I've never heard conservatives say. Am I making excuses for how great Joe Biden is? No, but the Republicans and Trump and the GOP, they underestimated Google and Facebook and YouTube. And I tried to say this in 2018 and 2017 because this is maybe my specialty. I think I have a lot, but I understand how YouTube works. I understand how Google works. I can explain it in layman's terms about exactly how they're rigging it. When I watched 2016, it was rigged on Google against Bernie, against Trump. They didn't want certain narratives to get to certain. It only got worse every year, worse. Like Los Angeles, every year, worse. By 2020, YouTube, it's not even a functional search engine anymore. If you want to find bipartisan news, they're not going by keyword. They're not going by title. They're not going by likes. They're not going by views. They're not going by popularity. They're going by, we like the New York Times, so the New York Times gets to go first. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million views and you're more popular, more honest, more likable, and in every algorithmic way you beat the New York Times. We're going to put their video there with 10,000 views because we just think they're more honest than you. And then their video is going to get 1 million views because we put them at the top of the news search. That's what they did to YouTube. They've rigged and destroyed the whole site. So, I think Trump underestimating the GOP, and this is where I don't feel bad for them. They didn't care about Alex Jones. They didn't care about Julian Assange. They didn't care about their supporters. They didn't seem to care much about the rigged algorithm. Trump got asked a bunch of times, and he kept saying, I beat him in 2016. I'm going to beat him in 2020. They rigged it against me in 2016, and I'll beat him in 2020. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, these networks they could make 1 million sales just based off of doing this. Like, they have so much data, so much access to people's stuff with pop-ups, with blocks, with censorships. And of course, in 2020, that's what they did. They censored people more. They took away people's accounts. They rigged it more. They shut the country down. They did mass mail-in ballots. And the GOP didn't figure this out until like 1 month before the election. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, we don't agree on the right with victim mentality. I'm not buying into this Trump circus of victim mentality. They stole it from me. That's the victim mentality. That's Trump, the circus clown, just running you in circles, making you think that, oh my God, they stole it and they had nothing to do with it. The GOP sat on their hands, waited until it was destroyed, and then played the victim with things that they could have addressed 3 years ago. So it's like, I'm not going to play the victim and act like I don't know how the election was ruined for Trump. I know exactly how it was ruined for Trump, through Facebook, through Google, through YouTube, through Twitter, through all of these social medias that he did nothing about. He passed speech laws. He did all this stuff. He locked the country down. The mass mail-in ballots came, and it's a wrap. It's over. They have too much money, too much power, too much data, too much control over us, and the GOP sat on their hands for nothing. So just like I'm not going to blame, if somebody's conquering America, I'm not going to blame them. It's us. We're supposed to have a military, aren't we? How am I going to play the victim if our military loses? We should have won. This is how I feel. If America gets conquered, I'm not blaming other religions and other ethnicities and other cultures and other countries. It's like, if you feel that way, what happened to your people? What did they do wrong? You know what I'm saying? I don't play the victim, not with me, not with the country, not with Trump. So to me, that's the big narrative that no one's talking about. Is like, he's doing a great job of running people in circles around things that are way deeper and way bigger and way more important than what he's talking about. And it's like, it was a key moment for it, but there's always the future. So with 2022, the push really has to be like, no more mass mail-in ballots, and crack through this COVID narrative, or else they're going to screw us over again. And, individual things, like I know Project Veritas is suing, like Candace is suing, Ron DeSantis is suing. Like, unfortunately, I'm not a big litigious person, but it's going to take lawsuits, and, it's not going to take running around in circles acting like he doesn't know how the election was stolen. It's a total joke, and they'll do it again in 2020. And that's why I think they want him gone till 2023. What's in 2023? Well, I know it's in 2022, the election that they probably want to win. So, this is like, I think it's like him playing the victim with a problem that he sat on his hands about, didn't do anything about. And a lot of people saw this coming. But I do think either they're just like jokers in a show, or they're selfish. I don't think the GOP cares until they get censored. And now they're like, whoa, this is bad. It's like, yeah, it's yes, it's been pretty bad. And you guys were in charge. If Ron DeSantis can pass an executive order that, like, there's got to be some sort of way to finesse the First Amendment into our country. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's nothing we can do. But the First Amendment doesn't say, well, if you're a tech company, you're allowed to basically take over all of the public sphere and then take away the First Amendment. That's not what it says. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a dreamer, as John Lennon said, but I don't know. I was like, this can't be. I don't know how they do it. I guess Section 230, but what about the First Amendment? Okay, Section 230. What about the 1A? Does that not work anymore? Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But just a perspective on the digital aspect of how they kind of shift elections that no one talks about in the GOP. And anytime they talk to Google, they don't know what they're talking about. They're talking to Facebook. They're talking to Zuckerberg. Sometimes they ask the dumbest questions. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, guys, what are you talking? Like, they're like, what's going on with the like button? They're like, dude, that's Facebook, not Google. It's like it's some guy in the Republican Party. He's like asking a question about the wrong social media. And I'm like, no, but it's all good. Has Anomaly ever been diagnosed with anxiety? No, I don't think I've been diagnosed with anxiety. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's not real, but I've felt a certain way. I've been thrown off on certain live streams and such, and, got anxious, but I try to power through that stuff. It's like, I just got to drink more water, do some jumping jacks or something. I'll be good. But this is not medical advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying for me. Dimitri said Anomaly's a computer. He can't get anxiety. Dude, the one guy was calling me a hologram on the live stream. I don't know if he was joking or he was just like literally, but it was kind of creeping me out. But it's funny. Let's make Anomaly laugh. I do like to laugh. Let's see. What do we got? Someone said humans feel anxiety sometimes. I think so. Sorry, I can't see everything. I'm a Chinese robot. Yeah. I look pretty. I look like the least Chinese person. That was a funny comment. Someone said, "Are you the trans in Tom McDonald's video?" No, that's Blair White, but that's really funny. That's a funny one. I got that joke. A lot of people won't get it. Actually, I don't know what the joke was, but it was just funny. Did I cut my hair, put it in a ponytail? I just put it up in a bun. I actually had someone else do it because here's the thing: I can't really do anything with my hair. My thumb is broken, and I can't grab. So I had a nice person put my hair in a bun because I wanted to get out of my face, and I haven't been able to do it for weeks. Mac said we're living in a bad episode of Black Mirror. I agree. Let's make it a good episode. Let's change the channel. Let's make it a good episode. Any plans for the summer? I do have plans. I mean, to be honest, I had a good day. I enjoyed myself. I hung out with a friend. I did a lot of stuff, but I like to move smooth. So I have plans, but I don't like to telegraph my plans. And telegraph means, like in basketball, if you telegraph a pass, they just say pass it really slow and make it obvious. So I have plans, but I don't like to announce what I'm doing. I like to just pop up and do it because I like to be here, be there. Like I'm not like I'm going to the Grand Canyon. I just pop up and it's like I'm at the Grand Canyon. I like to move like that. I gotta stop moving my hand. I'm gonna hurt it. All right, where are we at? 1:30. All right, 5-10 more minutes. Thank you, Frederick. I appreciate that. Frederick Earl, he said, God bless you, brother. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. A spark plug walks into a bar. Bartender says, don't you start nothing. Okay. I'll take a dad joke or two, but someone said an anomaly cruise. I would love a cruise boat, a cruise line. I mean, one day I will. I don't know if I have that power mindset. Like I like to just do my thing. So in order to own a cruise line, you got to really want it. I want my own cruise line. I don't want a cruise line unless they keep screwing up the cruise lines. And then they're going to start a fire under me. And I'm going to say, I guess I need my own cruise line now. So I don't think I'm this billionaire mogul type where I'm like, I need all this stuff. I want to be nice. I want to be comfortable, but I'm not trying to run the world. I'm trying to just chill on an island. But the problem is they take away the island. So I might have to just be this person because they're taking everything away from me. So why don't I just cut your hair? I don't know. Let me see your profile picture. Let me ask you a question. Never mind. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Why don't I cut my hair? I don't know. One day I will, and it'll be gone. Why? People ask me, why do I shave? Like, I don't know. Maybe I ask for it or something, but it's like, why? I don't know. I grabbed my razor and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shave today. And then it grows. And then people are like, well, what are you going to grow it back out? It's like, yes, that's what hair does. It grows back out. Like I'm not this fashion icon that people want me to be. Like I just shave. It was getting a little itchy. I don't know. It was getting annoying and I didn't feel like cutting it and trimming it. So I said, you know what? It's gone. And then people are like, is it coming back? And I'm like, yeah, it's going to grow back. And then I'll have it again. And then I might grow it out longer. I might not. I might cut it in a month. I don't know. Maybe I'll chop my hair off right now and live stream and sell it to sell it on eBay. I don't know. Why don't you cut your hair? I don't know. I don't care that much. I like it. It's not been a problem for me either way. It's a little annoying in the shower, not gonna lie. It's a little annoying to brush and stuff, but it looks cool sometimes. I wave it around. I'm on stage at a rock show and I say, make some noise, y'all. And then I start bobbing my head. You ever been on stage with 10,000 people in the crowd just bobbing your hair like that? It's kind of tight. So, I got to do that last year and I just waving my hair around because I have hair. It's like, I mess around and think I'm in Twisted Sister or something. I'm playing myself. I think it's the 70s. I wake up, everybody's got their cell phone out. It's like 2020. So I don't know. Why don't I cut it? I might not. But when I got it, sometimes I just let it fly. Someone said, be a man and stop complaining about luscious looks. Joshua, you are the real man, Joshua. You let us know how to be a real man. You want me to cut my hair off and be a real boy? A real man? Someone said, I'm going bald, so I shave and I'm jealous of the hair. Keep it while you can. it is what it is. People make a bigger deal of it than I do. I don't really care that much either way. Like one day I'll cut it off, and then the same people that said cut it off, they'll be like, well, why don't you grow it? That's the thing when you have long hair, like, oh, you should shave. Women have said to me, oh, Anomaly, you should shave. And then I shave, and some women will be like, I like the beard. It's like, I get it. Some of you like this, some of you like it. That's fine. And so, I mean, I don't mind you telling me, but it's like some people like demand, like, why don't you cut it? And then I cut my hair, and people say, why don't you grow it out? It looked better when you grew it out. Well, why did you cut your beard? It looks better. I'm sure some people think it looks better clean. Some people probably like the beard and the mustache, but I don't even care that much. I'm like, I just wanted it off my face and it'll grow back in a week. It's not a big deal. Someone said keep it because having none is fun. There's a vibe for everything. Some people rock the no hair. They got no hair. They're out there bopping with no hair. Like you gotta just make the most of what you got. Like I live in the moment. Like if I want to make it a moment, I'll just cut my hair. Don't complain about your locks. I'll cut it off on a YouTube live stream. It doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me that much, but my whole life doesn't revolve around it and what people think of it and complain about it. It's like, I'm just here. I'm on a beach taking a nap. I wake up, I'm in the ocean. It is what it is. Like, that's like, it's not the focal point of my reality. The Native Americans think it gives you strength. I talked to a Sikh. I don't know if you guys know Sikh. I'm not talking about sick. Are you a Sikh? I'm talking about, what I'm saying? My Indian boys and girls. But, I was talking to a Sikh and he was like, dude, I love your hair. And he was like, my hair's been growing out for 10 years. Like in some cultures, it's like the thing. Like he was like, dude, you got to grow it even longer. I was like, I don't know about that. But he's like, he's got a turban. I'm like, you got hair in there? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like a Sikh, like he was like, dude, that's dope. I love long hair. You talk to like a Native American, they're like, oh, for sure. You talk to Bob Marley's son, he's like, my hair's at my feet. It's like, it is what it is. Who am I to, I don't look at Bob Marley's son and be like, you should cut your dreadlocks. It's like, bro, just you do you. How are you going to talk to Bob Marley's son like that? It's like, he's got the dreadlocks. He's got the hair. He's got a turban on. We don't know if he's bald or he's got 20 feet of hair. It's like, it is what it is. It's just, you do you, and then let them do them. Who's got time to weigh in on other people's hairstyles? Someone said, if Trump shaves his, you shave yours. I don't want Trump to shave his hair. He's got iconic hair, Trump is icon down. He's got the icon hair. Like, I'm not going to tell Trump what to do. Grow a beard. Listen, he wants to grow out long hair. Like, let him go. Edge of the South said, never had any complaints about my goatee. You got to do what makes you feel comfortable and what you think looks good. I think that's important. If you like it and, if you're married or something, your wife likes it, whatever, that's what it is. If you have a girl, her opinion slightly matters, but if you can't be trying to please everyone else all the time. If you like your look, like, you got like a Howie Mandel situation going on, like that's what it is. You gotta make the most of it. You gotta make it iconic. Someone said long hair or beard connects you to the nature and everything around you. I'm open to those thoughts. I don't know. Someone said David Goggins for president. America would get a lot tougher, that's for sure. Someone said reggae's weak sauce. I like reggae. I don't agree. I like reggae. I like jazz. I like rock. I like good rap, not bad rap. I like a little bit of everything. You don't like reggae? Listen, Damian Marley, he crushes. I'd play his music, but I'd get copyrighted. Obviously I like Bob, but Damian, he's a good rapper and a good reggae artist. Someone said there's a reason it's called reggae. I don't know if you're serious or not, but someone said, well, here's what I'm thinking about people liking it. What you realize is at a certain point, it's not that important. I'm not saying I'm special or anything, but like I reach a lot of people. I could get millions. I don't know how many people are here, but at the end of it, it'll probably be like 50,000 views or something on like Facebook. So if you reach that many people, there's going to be hundreds of people who like it, and there's going to be hundreds of people who don't. And this doesn't just go for hair. This like a deeper message. You have to be comfortable with it, because it's like you're never going to please anybody. This is getting into a deeper conversation, but it's like once the message or your hair or your face or your nose or your smile, whatever, once it hits enough people, you're going to have, it doesn't matter if it's 2 people, 5 people, 10 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people. You're probably not going to have 100% of the people who like it. There's always going to be people who think you should do this or that or that. So, you could take suggestions, but I think at the end of the day, you just got to be comfortable with whatever you're doing. And that's what it is. My life got better when I used to be very self-conscious about my hair. I used to be very self-conscious about a lot of things. And then at a certain point, I just didn't care. Like, I was like, I know what I look like. And, if I want to spruce up or something, I can, but I don't know. I'm live all the time. If I was self-conscious, you'd see me once a week, so it's like, you might see me and I might be looking crazy some days because I just got in and I don't feel like doing that much to get ready. That's what I've broadcasted my life. Is kind of weird, but not my whole life really. But it's like, it is what it is. I have videos where I look ridiculous. My hair looks terrible. And I'm like, what was I thinking? But my thought was, I have this video talking about the moon landing and my hair looks terrible. I just got out of the shower. I didn't brush it. And but it's funny. It's kind of funny because it's like, I'm talking about the moon landing and I look like a psychopath. I'm like, look, listen, I don't want to get into, and like my hair's all crazy. It's almost perfect, but I don't look good. But I'm such a worker. I think about work. I don't think about how pretty I look. I'm like, I want to get this video done. And I have a video for tomorrow that I'm going to release in the morning about Elon Musk's girlfriend talking about communism with artificial intelligence. The video is already almost done. I'm going to edit that and put it out in the morning. So I do so much stuff. I don't think about how I look that much, because it's like, if I thought about how I looked all the time, I'd get no work done. I'm doing 7 videos a day. Sometimes I don't even have time to look in the mirror. I'm out here just slanging videos out. So it's like, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, oh, damn, I look terrible, but whatever. I got to get the info out there. So, as long as I know that one day I'll look better than that, it's like, that's not me forever. It's like, listen, I look like trash there, but tomorrow I could maybe look better or whatever. Someone said conditioning is important. I mean, there's a lot of things that are important. I'm just stretching my legs. Sorry. Pacific Northwest Bear, I appreciate it. God bless you. I need to stretch. All right, let's get 1 or 2 more comments. I'm out. Thank you, Germ. Appreciate you. Someone said, LOL, get a girlfriend. It would be easy for you. I don't talk about my personal life. Maybe I have a girlfriend. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I'm not like one of these people who wants my whole life broadcasted. This isn't the Kardashian show. Like, I don't even specify that much. If someone asks enough and I feel like saying it, I will, but I like to do my own thing. I don't like to make everything public. I'm not reading that comment by Kirk, but Kirk, that's really funny. That I should almost read it. Someone said my taxes went up 400%. Did that happen to anyone else? Sheesh. I hope not. That's a lot. That's a lot of an increase. Someone said anomaly with a girl next to him would get 3 times as many views at least. Well, I'm going to have a girl next to me at some point, but not in the way you guys are thinking. I have not a girlfriend, but a girlfriend who I'm going to interview about something, and you'll see a woman, but don't treat her like that. Don't be like, oh my God, there's a girl. Oh my God. It's like, just be like, okay, but you can be like, oh my God, she's so cute. But it's like, it's going to be an interview. It's a professional interview where it's like, I'm trying to get to the source. It's not a show. I'm not out here like Pat Sajak with Vanna White, just pressing the buttons, trying to look good for the camera. Like, we're out here really working. All right, I need to stretch. Hold on. I need to get a little stretch on. Someone said, I really enjoy your interviews. Thank you, Brooke. Are these puka shells? No, they're not puka shells. This is, I got this in Hawaii. I don't know what material it is, but I don't know. This Hawaiian guy on Big Island sold me. He was like, I was like, you got it, bro. $10. I got it. So it's the summer exclusive. All right, 5 more minutes. I gotta go. This got off topic. Listen, folks, we're trying to talk about serious stuff. Tomorrow, I got a new video. We're talking about, listen, the Communist Manifesto. It's crazy that I could hold this up, right? If this was like another book, people would be like, oh my God, he's so bad. Communists are terrible. But I can hold this up and nobody will ever like frame me as a bad thing, which just shows you that communists are really running the show, because if you held up a different book, everybody would not allow it, but somehow you can hold up a book where an ideology killed hundreds of millions of people, and that's fine. I don't make the rules, I'm just saying. But tomorrow I'm going to have a video in the morning. Elon Musk's partner is trying to pitch on TikTok that communism with artificial intelligence is a good idea. So of course, I had to do a little story on that. We talk about it. We got it. We dive into the Communist Manifesto. We pull out what it says. You're going to find some stuff very shocking, because it actually says in the book, I don't know if I should ruin my video, but it says something that just shows that they're not moral people running communism, because they say that in the book, but I don't want to get ahead of it. But in the morning, tomorrow, 8 p.m., I'm sorry, 7 a.m., I don't know, new video. You got it. Whew. All right. Let's end on a good comment. What time do I go to bed? Sometimes I go to bed at 12. I don't know. So, I mean, sometimes when do I go to bed or when do I go to bed? But I don't know. Sometimes 12. I try to get to bed at a good time, but I don't stay up that late anymore. The problem is when I wake up early, because sometimes like tomorrow I'm going to put out a video in the morning. I wake up even if I don't set an alarm, because I know a video's up. So I wake up, I look at it, I make sure it uploaded properly, and I do all this stuff. So when I got a video coming out, I'm up early in the morning, but I don't really sleep in that long. I don't know. My problem is I lay around too much because I don't have a set schedule. So if I work hard, sometimes I'm just extra tired, but I work a lot, but I don't know. You get what I'm saying? I go to bed at a decent time, but sometimes I'm exhausted because I wake up too early, but I don't do it randomly. I just have to get the video out. Someone said, was Christ communist? I think that's a weak thing, because I would say after reading the Communist Manifesto, Christ was not communist, because Christ was trying to lay down a rule. He was trying to lay down the law of, what he considered eternal truths. And communism wants to abolish. This is in the Communist Manifesto. I'm just going to blow the lid off it. My video tomorrow. Communist wants to abolish the family, which is not very Christ-like. He wanted to abolish eternal truths and morality. In the Communist Manifesto, it says, I want to abolish eternal truth. I want to abolish the truth, and I want to abolish morals. I don't think Christ wanted to abolish morals. He didn't want to abolish religion, and he didn't want to abolish truth. So this idea that the Communist Manifesto is not what people think it is. It doesn't say that. I read the book. It's this thin. It's razor thin. It'll take you for 2 hours. It says nothing. Oh, we're all sharing and we're all communists and we live in a commune. The Communist Manifesto says abolish the family, abolish private property, abolish eternal truths, abolish morality. We don't have morality. Let's abolish it. Centralization of the means of credit in the hands of the state. Centralization of communication, centralization of transportation. It's a total power grab. It's a total scheme. It doesn't even pretend. I'm not a dummy, and I'm not one of these like radical people that's like, I will never listen to it. I read it with an open mind. I thought maybe this is going to be a good book. Maybe Karl Marx was onto something. Maybe his plan got misused. And then I realized, no, his plan was a fraud. He was not this nice guy trying to save the world. He was trying to abolish morality, abolish truth, abolish the family. And then with no truth, no morality, and no family, people would be susceptible to a government that took over everything, which is what he advocated for. Total control over money, banking, transportation, media, communication. Who thinks that's a good idea? Well, is there going to be morality in this one world, in this system? Oh, no, no morality. Can I have a family in this system? No family. Can I have private property in this? Oh, no, no private property. Can I have the truth? Oh, no, we are abolishing eternal truths. Dude, Karl Marx sucks. Karl Marx is a scumbag. Excuse me. Sorry. So, yeah, I don't know. This idea that Christ was a communist, I'm like, no. But listen, you got to talk to Christ, pray at night. I can't answer questions for him, but I don't think this is a very Christian book, but to each their own. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Someone said Friedrich Engels was the first man to have his ideas completely stolen who was happy about it. Yeah, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. I guess he never gets credit for it, right? The poor guy, he came up with all these ideas and everybody just talks about Karl Marx. I got the book. It has Friedrich Engels on it too. Nobody shows that guy love. We got to look him up. But have a good night. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I'll read one more super chat. Someone said, what's the difference between Catholicism and Christianity? I could probably give you a dumb answer, but I don't think I'm the best scholar to explain the differences. So I would say look it up or ask somebody more on it than me. Someone said Orange Man good. But yeah, I don't know. I said I was going to take off. So I don't know. Someone in the comments will probably answer better than I am what the difference is. But, I think the Catholic Church, and depending what's Christian denomination, I think everybody kind of just has their own little thing going on. So I don't know. It would be a longer conversation. But let me know what you guys think. Have a good one. And I'm out. Thanks for hanging out on a Saturday night. And I'll have a new video tomorrow morning or Monday morning. I don't know if it's a dumb idea to put out a video on Sunday if anybody will watch it, but I'll try. All right. Have a good one, guys.